Welcome to Sidebar. This edition is sponsored by Explode, Massachusetts, taking place on March 14th at the Burlington Marriott. To register, go to explodethis.com/Boston, and that's explode with an X. I am Eric Berman, the Communications Director here at MAR, and I'm joined today by Ashley Stolba, our Associate Counsel, and we're going to talk about forms, right? So before we get into it, because I know we have some updated forms, we have some new forms to talk about, can you just talk about what the process is of how forms are created, amended, fixed, improved?
So the Massachusetts Association of Realtors has a Forms Content Advisory Committee, and that committee is charged with overseeing all of the forms in the Mass Forms Library. So every year we have a new committee, and that committee is charged with reviewing them and seeing if we should amend them or create new forms and things like that. The 2015 Forms Content Advisory Committee was chaired by Lou Mayo, and the changes that they implemented are going to be what's discussed today.
Oh, great. So it looks like the first form that the committee fixed or updated was the exclusive listing agreements.
That's right. So what they did is they decided to remove one clause in the broker's duties section of the listing contracts. We have a few of them, but they did decide to remove one sentence, and that sentence is that the broker shall have no obligation to present any offers once an offer has been accepted and the transaction is pending. So what they did is they removed that sentence because after much deliberation and guidance from in-house counsel and outside counsel, they thought that it was in the seller's best interest to continue to receive and review offers once an offer has been accepted. Now, that would be the default. So if the seller has instructed the seller's agent to do the opposite and that they did not want to review any offers after an offer has been accepted, they're free to do that. But the default now will be that the agent shall have the obligation to continue to submit offers to sellers even after an offer has been accepted. One more thing I'll add to that, though, is that if your seller is even considering accepting a backup offer, make sure they're talking to an attorney when they do that. I do not want sellers' agents accepting or instructing their sellers to accept a backup offer without consulting an attorney first, because you really want to be sure that you're not binding your seller to two different buyers. So just be sure that you're talking to an attorney before you do that.
That's pretty smart advice coming from an attorney.
Good.
So you've also, the committee has also updated the seller statement of property condition.
Yeah.
What changes?
That's right. We're really excited about the changes that were made to this form. So the 2014 Forms Content Advisory, a while ago, actually established a subcommittee to totally revamp this form. And that subcommittee was chaired by Deb Heffernan. And they worked for almost a year and a half to make changes to this form. So they made it a lot more user-friendly. They added a new column for more information. They just really cleaned up some of the questions so the answers would be a little bit more clear. They also added some new categories. We talk about solar panels and pools and things like that. So we really hope that your sellers find it easier to complete this time around.
All right, so now let's move on to the new form. So the committee came up with some new forms. There's an exclusive right to sell agreement for a facilitator and an exclusive buyer agreement for a facilitator. What are those forms? Why do we have them? What does it mean?
That's right. So we also formed a subcommittee to discuss facilitation. That subcommittee was chaired by Peter Raffini, and the subcommittee recommended that two new forms be created to replace one standalone facilitation form that we've had for many years. So what these two forms do is they recognize that facilitation is practiced here in Massachusetts, and for those facilitators who wish to work with a buyer or a seller, they can do that with these new forms. So they're tailored, each form is tailored to either the buyer or to either the seller, and they just clearly instruct the facilitator what their duties are and their obligations are, and right back at the customer too, what the facilitator expects of the customer.
Okay, so Ashley, it looks like we have one more to talk about, and that is the integrated disclosure addendum for mortgages. So what is this one for?
That's right. So as most of our members are aware, all of our members are aware, TRID went into effect for any closings or any mortgage applications that began on or after October 3rd, 2015. Right. So before October, we reviewed this with our Forms Content Advisory to create a new form that is this addendum. And we recommend this addendum be used for any transaction that there is going to be a mortgage involved. There's quite a few purposes for this form. I think the most important purpose of the form is to be sure that the buyers and sellers are aware of the fact that now that TRID is in place, closings are going to take a little bit longer, or they may take a little bit longer than they had in the past if the mortgage is involved. So there's a really important disclosure piece that I think this form serves. It also allows the buyer and the seller to extend their agreement and go into an extension if any of the triggers that cause your closing to be delayed are kicked in. So there's quite a few purposes for this form, and we do recommend that you use this form, or you encourage your buyers to use a form, some type of TRID addendum, if a mortgage is going to be involved.
Okay, well, thank you. So we have all these improved forms, we have these new forms. Where can our members go to access all these forms?
Our forms are available through our website. If you visit our website, all of our forms providers are listed right there, and they also should be available through your MLS.
Okay, well, Ashley, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
This is all we have, and we'll see you next month on the Sidebar.